Embrace yourself, because after this video, you will finally understand how to make yourself seen and how to become a confident content creator in 2025. You are here, so I know that you want to be seen, you want to be authentic, you want to bring value and to build a community, and you will. Whether you are starting for the very first time or you're coming back after a break, this is exactly what you need to do to become an authentic and successful content creator in 2025. I was exactly where you are now a couple of years back, and knowing everything that you're going to learn and every way in which you're going to grow, it just makes me so genuinely happy for you. And hey, we're about to become colleagues, so some introductions are in order. Hi, I'm Ari. I'm a digital marketing strategist and a content creator, and your new social media BFF. It's so nice to meet you. Welcome to our creator co-working space. So you're becoming a full-time confident content creator in 2025, and there's no way back. After this video, you will take content seriously. We'll talk about the fears that are holding you back and how to overcome them. You'll understand how to grow a community around your personality and how to build your vision and become the content creator that you want to be. You will learn what you're talking about on social media, who you're talking to about it, and why you're talking about it in the first place. You're also gonna be ready to film yourself in public and anywhere really. So without further ado, let's get to work. Let me just get this set up in place. This is how we're doing this today. So you want to create content, you want to build value, but it is very scary to start. I know what it feels like. I've been there. And let's work with the idea that the fear you're experiencing when thinking about that is just that, fear. Most of the time when I'm talking to beginner creators, there are kind of the same fears that pop up. You might feel like you or your life is boring. You might also be afraid of being judged by others. Creators who are just starting out often have this fear that there are already too many influencers out there and that there's just no space for them, or that you have nothing to say, no particular experience, nothing interesting about you. Tell me in the comments if any of these fears ring a bell. If not, what are your fears, and I'll help you reframe them. I of course believe that these are absolutely valid fears. I went through them just 3 years ago. They are very real, but the problem is that they're actually blocking you from becoming who you want to be. So let me find some logical reasons to kind of explain why those fears should not be your roadblocks and should not be why you're not acting and why you're not taking the first step to become a content creator. And then I'm gonna give you a little bit of tough luck. When you feel that you are boring, your life is boring, and that you have absolutely nothing to talk about on social media in 2025 is not about unique experiences as much as about unique angles on everyday experiences that we all have. It is not boring, it is calming, it is human, and it makes people relate to who you are. You just need to find your angle and to learn to translate your unique way of perceiving this world into words and sentences and use that on social media. For example, there are so many creators talking about social media and content creation out there, and I could just tell myself, why would I even do that? There are so many people already talking about these subjects, but none of them are talking from the point of view of an introverted and hypersensitive person who bet everything on social media and on growing her business, who did it for a year and a half, who burned out, had to close the business just to understand that she was playing small all along. Nobody else could come to the same conclusions and have the same ideas to share as I do. If you feel like there are so many creators out there and you just don't know if you would bring any value, the creators you're afraid are taking your audience are, first of all, people who are actually supporting the audience's interest in whatever subject you want to talk about. And second of all, they could change direction any day. Social media is an extremely dynamic field. Maybe in a month they will evolve and start speaking about a broader subject, and you could potentially take their place. If you're afraid of being judged, let's be honest, if you become a successful content creator, you probably will be. There are very easy ways to deal with criticism. It does require a certain level of maturity. If right now it paralyzes you that somebody could leave a nasty comment under your video and say something hateful, I understand that it could be holding you back, but getting a negative comment will unavoidably come with dozens of positive comments of people who will resonate with your message. So I totally understand how you feel. I understand your fears. They are valid. But the thing is that they are the scariest at the planning and preparing phase. When you actually start doing and posting and communicating and building your community, all of those fears kind of stay behind while you're moving forward. So let's find your unique angle to help you become a confident and authentic content creator in 2025. This unique angle is based on your vision and on your strategy. Your vision is basically what type of creator you want to be. You could be interested in becoming a lifestyle blogger, so sharing kind of everyday experiences with your audience. You might want to be an educator, so talking about a particular subject that you're good at, that you're interested in. Or you could also be a business owner that wants to grow their business online. To build your vision, you need to imagine all of it. You need to think about the overall style that your content will have, the message that you want to be received through your content. You need to think about the feeling that you create and the value that you bring. And it's also important to think about the way you're planning on monetizing your social media account if you want to become a full-time creator. For example, my vision is to become your supportive and honest, no fluff work BFF, one who wants you to succeed on your path to becoming a confident and authentic content creator. I want to be vulnerable and honest and inspiring, and I want the people who watch my content to feel inspired and not overwhelmed and believe that they can get where they want to get. And to achieve that vision, we're going to pick several subjects, 2 to 3, I would say, on which you're going to focus, because in your growth stage, it could be either in the very beginning or down the road when you want to grow and gain more followers, you want to be known for something. What's important is not to confuse this with being repetitive. For example, don't just say the same 3 facts about one subject over and over again, and don't box yourself into just one niche. I tried it, it led to burnout and disappointment, and I had to close my first business because I was so afraid to talk about anything but this one subject I thought I could be an expert in. That's just not the way to do it, trust me. So here is a better way. The example of your 2 to 3 core subjects could be social media, content creation, and entrepreneurship, if that's kind of your area of expertise. If you are more of a lifestyle creator, then you could be talking about cooking for picky toddlers and kids-friendly activities, so finding the time for yourself as a stay-at-home mom. So you see how the core topics are quite broad. There are a lot of things to talk about within those subjects, and you need to make sure that whatever you choose is something that you're ready to talk about with everyone and anyone non-stop every day of the week. That's how we know that you will be able to generate enough ideas, that you have enough experience to talk about the subject. And by experience, I do not mean that you're actually enough of an expert. I rather mean that you have enough thoughts and enough of your own unique views on whatever subject you're going to pick. It is also important to think about the kind of content that you love to consume and that other people also love and enjoy. An important note in here, please don't mistake in educating your audience with boringly kind of reciting facts and just giving them information. Nowadays, information is so easy to get. You could Google or ask ChatGPT pretty much anything. Whatever piece of information you want to share, you need to first look at it through the lens of your experience, your way of thinking, and that will make your content stand out. It is very important to study what kind of content others love to consume within the topic that you want to talk about. Here is some ugly truth that unfortunately hurts a lot of creators, me included. Don't try to be too original. I know how it sounds. I know that it might be very, very hard to hear and that you might feel a lot of resistance, but I really encourage you to contribute to the subjects about which there is already enough content that is being created, because that's the best way for you to grow. If you have absolutely zero competitors and if nobody else is talking about whatever it is that you want to talk, that is a red flag and not a green one. So there's a thin line between talking about something that is just not catchy enough for social media and having your own tone of voice and a very specific to you way of talking about things that are already talked about. So once you have your 2 to 3 core subjects, it's time to actually build your strategy. A little spoiler is that I already started working on next week's video, and it's going to be chef's kiss. It's going to be such an in-depth conversation. We'll go into strategy and branding, but in so many details. So I'm so hyped for next week's video, but today let's focus on these 2 questions: who you're talking to on your social media platforms and why. Starting with who, if you already have an audience, what you need to do is to have a conversation with some people from your audience, invite them to have a call with you. If you don't have an audience yet, it's totally okay, don't feel nervous. I have a great tip for you. You need to imagine imagine your past self. It could be 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years ago. I wouldn't go further than 5 years. And you need to kind of interview that past version of yourself. During this interview, either with yourself or with somebody who's actually following you, a warning in here that it should not be a random person that is following you. Like, for example, if it's your best friend who absolutely doesn't care about the subject that you're talking about, but she's there just to support you, that's not really gonna do the trick, because what we really need to understand is what kind of problems a person could experience within the subject or subjects that you are talking about, and you need to create content that's going to help them with just that. If I were using this technique, I would talk to myself from like 3 years ago. I used to be a girl whose biggest dream was to create content on social media. I had dozens of scripts of unpublished posts and videos sitting in my notes app. I was terrified of being seen. I was somebody who was trying to stay safe by sticking to what I studied in school and kind of using that subject to grow on social media, because that was the only way for me to fight with my imposter syndrome. When you have a description like that, you can actually imagine the person that you're talking to and that your content is helping. And that is the key to creating valuable content. Now that your persona is ready, we're moving to the next very important question, which is your why. You need to have a very clear idea of why you want to share this content. Without the why, the content risks to be not organized, not catchy enough. Now that we've talked about what you're going to be talking about, who you're going to be talking to, and why you're talking about this particular subject, let's move to the very important step of actually creating content. I know that you want to be seen. I know that you want to put yourself out there. You might be a very extroverted person who kind of always makes friends easily and just wants to learn to put that energy on the internet. Or you could be a person who is more like me, who is introverted and shy and maybe hypersensitive, and who finds the idea terrifying. Wherever you find yourself on that spectrum, trust me, there is a way to get comfortable with filming yourself and to find your own tone of voice while talking to the camera. And I need to start by saying something kind of unpleasant, and I'm going to hold your hand while I'm saying this. Your first 3, 10, 20 videos could be not great. The thing is that it's a very complex thing, and it's not just about one skill, but about a combination of skills. So you need to give yourself the time that is going to take you to become good in creating content. The hardest part of filming yourself, at least for me, would be filming yourself in public. I went to London a few weeks ago, kind of took the occasion to create content. It was not easy. Here is something I learned while filming myself in public and talking to my camera in public, like on a bus. Filming yourself in public places, as terrifying as it is a form of therapy. It's about being vulnerable and being brave, and it's so worth it. I can guarantee that filming yourself in public is going to take you so much closer to that vision that we created earlier on today. As you can see, I am not ultra confident. I still seem a little bit stressed and nervous, and I was also kind of uncomfortable because I'm very mindful of people around me. I made a plan for you to start filming yourself slowly but surely. Like I said, I believe that exposure therapy is the best way to go around this. You do need to be gentle with yourself, but you also need to actually get it done. So here is my idea for you. It's going to take you 5 days to be able to create content outside in public and actually talk to the camera and share your thoughts. On Monday, you're going to talk to your camera or to your phone from the comfort of your home, where nobody's going to be judging you, nobody's going to be watching you, you're just doing it on your own. On Tuesday, you're going to film yourself walking outside, selfie style. That's going to be easier than what you're going to do on Wednesday, which is filming yourself kind of hands-free. So you either put your phone on a tripod or you put it somewhere in the street and you just film yourself walking. On Thursday, I want you to talk to your camera in a quiet public space. So we're taking this extra step, pushing ourselves further, but we are still within kind of the comfort of our safety zone where nobody's watching us doing it. And on Friday, you're actually going to talk to your camera in a busy public space. I find it much easier if you actually have a microphone. I'm going to get into all of those details in next week's video, so don't skip that. It definitely helps because you don't need to be as loud, and also you know that your sound is going to be better. Even if you don't have a microphone and you're not planning on getting one anytime soon, which is totally okay, you can start without. You are still filming yourself talking to your camera. Starting to lose my voice over here. So now that we have a plan of how you're actually going to start creating content, I know that you must feel terrified to an extent because being seen on purpose is very scary, but I know that you can do it, and I know that what is going to bring you is going to be so worth it. So let me give you several tips that actually work for me. So the ideas that I come back to regularly just to remind myself that what I'm doing is not as scary as it feels and that I can absolutely do it. If you're anything like I am, you could be very much drawn to the preparation stage and spend too much time planning before actually starting to act. So we are going to avoid this. Before filming yourself for the very first time, you might scroll mindlessly on social media for an hour. That's just your brain and your nervous system trying to regulate itself. What you need to do is to recognize the fear, you need to name it, you need to acknowledge it, and you need to do it scared. And like I said, it's something I repeat to myself all the time. It has literally become my motto. The second thing that I remind myself of regularly that a lot of beginner content creators need to know: people think about you way less than you think they do. Do you really want to have regrets and not do this thing that is calling to you just because somebody's going to think something about you for 5 seconds? I don't think so. The third tip is block everyone you don't want watching your content. It might sound harsh, but you need to block your coworkers, your coworkers' sisters, your cousin's friend, your mother's best friend. If the thought of those particular people accidentally seeing you on social media terrifies you and is the reason why you want to hide and you're afraid to confidently create content, they need to go, from your social media. And last but not least, you need to remember that finding your voice takes time. We already spoke about the fact that in the beginning, creating content is not easy and that it's going to take you some time to find your style and to see what works. Trust me, there are so many times where my imposter syndrome is just eating me from the inside and I still sit down and I film the content. Don't waste your time thinking yourself into becoming a confident content creator, but spend your time actually being a content creator. So now that we've talked about everything I wanted to talk to you about today, congratulations. You are officially ready to go from a person who is afraid of being seen but who wants to share their message to someone who's confidently showing up, building a community and bringing value. Now you've got all the tools to begin on this journey. You've also got a couple of questions to reflect on. If you want some examples of how to define your target persona, how to film yourself in public, drop a comment. I've got you. And I'll see you next week when we're going to dive into the strategy, the tools, and the setup for creating content like a pro. Thank you so much for spending time with me, and I can't wait to see you shine. Bye!